Stop being a ghost in your own life. You're sitting at a table where your name is only mentioned when someone needs a favor. Look around. That job that ignores your talent, that relationship that feels like a chore, that friend group that only calls when they're bored. You aren't a guest there, you're a convenience. According to Brianna Wiest in The Mountain Is You, we don't stay in these toxic loops because we're happy. We stay because familiar pain feels safer than unknown joy. You've settled for crumbs of respect because you're terrified of the hunger that comes with walking away. You're being tolerated, not celebrated. And that is a slow-motion suicide of the soul. Stop being a ghost in your own life. You're sitting at a table where your name is only mentioned when someone needs a favor. Look around. That job that ignores your talent, that relationship that feels like a chore, that friend group that only calls when they're bored. You aren't a guest there, you're a convenience. According to Brianna Wiest in The Mountain Is You, we don't stay in these toxic loops because we're happy. We stay because familiar pain feels safer than unknown joy. You've settled for crumbs of respect because you're terrified of the hunger that comes with walking away. You're being tolerated, not celebrated. And that is a slow-motion suicide of the soul. Total darkness. The heavy metallic clack of a Kimber Warrior 1911. Blood mixing with freezing rain on New York City pavement. 77 kills in one night. This isn't a professional hit. It's an emotional exorcism. They killed his hope. They stomped on the only piece of peace he had left. A beagle named Daisy. The high table thought they owned him. They thought he was a tool to be stored in a basement until the next mess needed cleaning. They didn't see a man. They saw a resource. Big mistake. A man with nothing to lose is a man who finally has everything to find. This is the sound of a man realizing that being under the
cold
table
air smells
was a
of
death
gunpowder
sentence
and
he signed
rain.
himself.
A heavy silence hangs
Reset
in the room,
the timeline.
broken only
Look
by
at
the
the hidden
rhythmic
root.
ticking of a watch.
Before the
and
Baba
ragged,
Yaga was a
desperate
legend
legend of a man
he was a
hiding
servant.
behind a John Wick
3 men are
psychological trap.
neutralized.
Started with the
bounty
impossible
is $7 million.
task.
And
To
the
leave,
world's most
he had to
dangerous
perform a
assassins
miracle
are
for a
closing
man
in.
who didn't
But the
respect
man
him.
in the center
This is
doesn't
the
blink.
blood oath of the
His heart
modern
rate
world.
stays at a
We
steady
stay because
60
we
beats
feel
per
we
minute.
owe it to the
Dark
system.
with a victory.
In
It
Atomic
starts
Habits,
in the
James
darkest
Clear
basement of the
explains
human
that
soul.
our identity,
is
psychological
tied to our
studies on
repeated actions.
resilience and reframing
John stayed in the
show that
underworld for years because he
people
believed
are
his
held back by
identity
the
80% of
only
their
the
thoughts
gun.
that are negative.
He forgot he
or
was a man
self-doubting.
who loved.
But in the
He was
underworld,
trapped by a psychological
is a
marker,
death sentence.
a debt of the
in the
soul
first one
that he kept paying long
and your
after it
engagement
was due.
is the gold
Every
coin
minute you
that
stay
keeps
where you're
this
tolerated,
engine running.
your market
Tension
value drops.
spikes.
In
Think
John
about
Wick,
the Red Circle
Chapter
Club.
2,
One man
Santino
against 70.
D'Antonio
Data
burned
shows
John's
that in
house to the
high-stress
ground.
combat,
Why?
hyper
Because he thought John was a dog.
dark
He
psychological
could whistle
trait
back to work.
where one's skill level is
Humiliation.
so high
If you
it
feel
creates
like
an
your
aura
house,
of invincibility.
your mental
People
health
don't fear
is
his
being
gun.
burned by
They
people
fear
you've helped.
his will.
You're in the wrong room.
Every
You're
person on
fighting
the
for a
street is a
system that
potential
doesn't
killer.
even want you to
Here,
win.
we see the
Before
vulnerability.
we see the
He
legend
is tired.
emerge,
His
I
suit
need you
is
to do
shredded.
something for
He is
yourself.
falling off buildings and
If you're
being hit
tired
by
of being
cars.
the person everyone
This is
uses,
the breaking
but no
point
one values,
discipline.
hit that
He
subscribe
seeks out the elder.
Don't
in
let
the
your
desert.
growth be
a total
tolerated by
reinvention.
an algorithm. He cuts off his finger, a physical manifestation of sunk costs
Like
this
psychology.
video.
If you're
He
ready
is
to
willing
burn
to
your
sacrifice
own impossible task.
or never feeling fear.
Watch what happens.
It is
when a
about
man stops
sheer
asking
will.
for permission.
It is the
The identity
psychological
peak.
commitment to a
John
single
Wick,
goal,
Chapter
regardless
3,
of the
Parabellum.
cost. A
John
$14
Wick
million
reminds
bounty on his head.
A dog tag hits the
Every
floor.
assassin in
A
the
memory
world
flashes.
is
A
hunting
loss
you.
that never healed.
But here
and
is the
suddenly,
shift.
this
John
isn't about
stops
violence
running from the high
anymore.
table.
It's
and
about
starts
something
hunting the
deeper.
system itself.
Control.
He realizes
Identity.
the rules
It was
were
built
designed
through
to keep
loss.
him small.
His wife, Helen,
This
died
is
of
the
illness,
dopamine ladder
leaving
of
behind not
liberation.
just grief,
As David
but a
Goggins
test.
says in
A puppy,
Can't Hurt Me,
fragile,
you have
innocent,
to callous
a
your
final
mind.
attempt to keep his
John
humanity
stops being
alive.
a victim of the contract.
It was
and
aimed at
becomes
memory,
the contract
at pain,
itself.
at
He
identity.
declares himself.
But Alan Watts would
Excommunicado.
challenge this
He
entirely.
chooses the lethal
He believed
danger of being
the
alone,
ego is a
comfortable
social
safety of
illusion,
being a slave.
a game you think,
But
but no
freedom
business
isn't
can be
a straight
conducted.
line.
A sacred boundary, even falling off the roof of the Continental. And John breaks in bone, not because he has to, because something inside him refused. John is bleeding. John thought he was choosing, but he was reacting, driven by something he hadn't yet understood. From the outside, he looks like pure control. It's lonely. Every movement calculated. Every might lose. And John, at this stage, cannot observe. He can only respond. His identity has taken over life, and identity, once locked in, becomes a prison. And then, just same environment, structures, shadows. The climb to the top of the 220. The more you define yourself, the more you trap yourself. John Wick. John defined himself. He gets kicked all the way back down to the mission. He bleeds. He moves with less rage and more clarity, less reaction, more presence. He's still deadly, but he's no longer trying to prove anything. This is where the philosophy is about the boundary. In the final duel, there is no chaos, no anger, just stillness. The same stillness from the beginning. If you stay where you are tolerated, before you're teaching the world that now it's peace. That's the walk out of that becomes a prison. And then, just when it feels like he might regain control, everything, loyalty, structure, shadows, anything less. Alan Watts said, the more you define yourself, the more you trap yourself. Like John defined himself as the man who completes in the end. Not his lethality, his awareness. He moves with less rage and more clarity, less reaction, more presence. He's still deadly, but he's no longer trying to prove ego. He's simply